captain speaking. At this time, I'm going to ask you to fasten your seatbelts. Flight 527, runway 8 kilo. You're clear for takeoff.
We're going to experience a ride in an actual Tesla Robotaxi right here in Austin. Because we're here, we're taking advantage. We're enabling where we live in order to bring you things that you can't get anywhere else across the U.S. except for in Austin, Texas, and in San Francisco. So we are really rocking today. And obviously, we've got Jim and Gus. Guys, what do you think about this episode?
I think it's fun. I'm glad that you guys thought about doing this, and what a cool thing with the going on the Tesla, the new Tesla car, and can't do that in San Diego.
That's right. Yeah. This segment is really about the fact that Tesla now does not have a safety driver any longer in its driving position in the car any longer. That's what we thought about it. What else are we going to talk about? We better go take a ride in the thing and find out what it's like. And so it was enjoyable. So we're going to show that video in just a moment, but let's get some background first. The difference between what Tesla is doing and what Waymo is doing is Waymo is using LiDAR and that type of technology. And with the Tesla, it's primarily camera driven and be able to see what humans would see. And they're using neural type of learning so that it's able to react like a human being would react. So it's much different than what Waymo is doing. So this release without a driver in the seat was not expected to be quite this soon, and they got it out a little faster than most people thought was going to happen. But Bill and I took that ride, right? Bill, and it was comfortable and dependable. It stopped where it needed to. It went fast. It went around cars. It did all these cool things. Like I said, we'll show that in a minute. But just remember, this is level 4 high automation autonomous driving. It is not level 5. Level 5 is when we get to the point where there's no pedals, there's no steering wheel. In fact, probably the seats are turned around, facing all together, all 4 people looking at each other.
Why not?
And it's not there. Definitely not there. So,
but that's coming
future,
in April, and those are being produced starting in April here in Giga, Texas.
And the number of taxis that robotaxis, Bill had looked it up, and he looked at Grok. Is that what you looked at? He said he looked at Grok, and it shows like 70 something that are out there right now running around. I looked on OpenAI and it said 35. So maybe one of those two is right. Probably better trust Grok, right? They own the cars. So what are we looking at? So what's different about this vehicle before we show it? Because I want to get out all the understanding about what's inside of this car. They're running with a level. Remember, this is just a typical Tesla car that's been converted into a taxi. So you can buy one essentially at this level probably in the very near future. So it's hardware level 4. They have a better motherboard that's in this. It's more high capacity, has 16 gigs of RAM, has 256 gigs of storage, 8 times the power of the previous version and hardware version 3. And so a lot of people that bought the autonomous driving package are saying, hey, what's going on? You guys, you told us we were going to have it. We don't have it. We got the level hardware 3. We don't get all the same things. So Elon Musk promised that he would take care of them. So he's going to upgrade them. So I think his board was probably a little not happy about that. But he said, we're going to make good. We're going to make good on. So it's got some cool things in it. I said I made a few remarks earlier about the fact that it watches its own cameras. It has an improved and larger antenna in the back, and we'll see that in the video. Bill, I think at this point, we probably could just run into the video and we can talk about it a little bit while it's running. So why don't you go ahead and run that?
Here we are waiting for it. You have to get an account on tesla.com. And once you have that account, you get the app from the App Store, and then you log in with the Tesla login, and then you're golden. You have to be within the service area that they are providing. Right now, that's a pretty small service area in 245 square miles or something in downtown Austin. But where we were going, the freeway that would have direct access was outside of the service area. So we had to go circuitously around town in order to get there without violating the constraints of the area where it's supported.
So this
And we
trip
sat
ends
there
up.
for a long time waiting, and it's like, when's this thing going to go? And it's little did we know that we had to go and figure this out, and watch what happens. Kaboom. There we
That's
go.
different
What do
than
you think,
Uber.
Jim?
Yeah, it was pretty much obvious in front of our faces until we looked down and it said, "You want to start the ride? Push this here." So we pushed the button or
I want
pushed
to
the
know why
screen.
that goofy guy sitting in the front seat, the safe driver or whatever, why didn't he help
Yeah,
you? Why didn't
not
he
his
say,
job.
hey guys, you got to push the button?
Yeah, the
I guess
safety monitor
he gets paid
that's
by the
sitting.
hour.
Yeah, the safety monitor in the front seat. His job is to be a circuit breaker. If anything looks like it's going wrong, he can shut the car down. That's all he can do. He can't steer the driver. He can't hit the brake pedals. He can't do anything. But if he has some sort of a shutdown capability, and all he has to do is say stop, and that car will stop.
He looks like a nice guy.
I wouldn't know. Would talk
He
to
was
us.
like one of those castle guards in England
Yeah.
with the big
Windsor
hat,
Castle or whatever.
and people come
Yeah, the
up and
Royal
try and make
Guard.
him blink. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's like a castle guard.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what's
Oh, this
going
is
on
a
now?
cool feature. Look at that. I can link my own Apple ecosystem to this
Apple
and then
Music.
play my music. So I got the QR code. I said, link to my Apple account. Boom. I click the QR code, opened it up. It connects to my Apple account, says, do you want to connect to this? And then I say, connect, click, boom. Now, when you look down here in a second, you're going to see that all my music says already subscribed. Here's all my music. Click, boom, right there. Now we can listen to my music while we're on the ride. And interestingly, this is going to link to my Tesla and my Robotaxi account forever. So every time I take a ride, I'll have my music automatically. I don't have to link it every time.
That's cool.
Gus, are you jealous yet?
Yeah, you guys live in Austin. You get to do this, and yeah, I couldn't have fit in there anyway. We have to kick Bozo out. I could hit the off switch. It wouldn't go over well. I thought it was a mannequin when I first saw this. At first, I thought it was you in the front seat, Bill, and you're much better looking. I hope he's not watching. But then I saw you in the back seat, and I'm like, was that a mannequin up there? Anyways,
There's
I don't know why
there's
I
that.
was so enamored by that.
Now
You
we
can see
speed it up.
antenna back there.
Yeah, there's the
Yeah,
antenna.
there was that black antenna
That
in the
big
back
black
windshield.
thing right there is the antenna.
Back window. Yeah. Normally, this would not be something that would be able to launch this quickly, but Tesla is assuming full responsibility. They put up $100 million with the Department of Transportation in Texas here to back up any kind of issues that may happen with it. So they have an insurance policy essentially of $100 million to take care of anything that would be associated with this early release of these taxis driving. So basically, it's on them. And then we know that Waymo's already had self-driving for a while with no monitor sitting in the front at all. So, but they've been doing this for a while. So now with Tesla coming out, so what is the big deal about Tesla coming out and doing this? Because their cars cost roughly, the full investment for Waymo is about $200,000 per autonomous vehicle versus Tesla. Their approach comes closer to about $50,000. So they can basically put 4 taxis on the road for the same price of one Waymo
Or
car.
more
So
when they have the Robotaxi that's supposed to be under $30,000. And I think
right.
the public can go out, you can buy 10 Robotaxis yourself, put them out
Yeah.
there and quit your
Start
job.
your own cab. Yeah, start your own cab company. That's
Really?
Yes.
That's the future.
Oh, it's like we used to
Gus
buy a
is gonna,
payphone.
I see the steam coming out of Gus's ears. Even though
That's
we're
right.
sub-billionaires, we can probably afford to buy some Robotaxis. And that's showing you where we're going to be dropped off. It's right on the edge, right? And here we are. We're getting dropped off. Of course, we've had these storms in the area. Check your location,
Cold.
make sure everything's there. And oh, by the way, I just have to tell you guys this. You're going to love it. It comes up and it says, do you want to leave a tip? And then it has 2 amounts. And so I clicked the higher amount and it like laughed at me and it said, just kidding.
Oh, great. I was going to say for who? I thought maybe it was
For who?
Joe Bob there sitting in the front seat asking for a tip.
And so here we
That's true.
go into our Apple store to take a look at some other cool stuff.
So to close this out, as he stops the video, and really, it's just the issue is about safety, and both of us felt pretty safe. At least I believe we both. Bill, you pretty much felt safe in that vehicle.
Oh,
I didn't have.
I had no
No
problem.
questions.
I've been in a
Yeah.
Waymo before.
Yeah. If
You know,
they,
when you think about the safety question, one of the things I did in preparation to today's session was just did a little research on how many accidents there are in regular cars. Because if there's one death with this thing, it'll be front page news, probably shut everything down, everything
exactly.
else. So in the
Yep.
United States, there are over 100 fatalities every single day. And
Hmm.
in Austin, there's one serious accident, meaning people went to the hospital every day. So I'm wondering, is the bar really that high on the safety? Is that really, should we be concerned about it? Those Waymo's
Well, it's
amazing record.
statistically, it's like flying. Statistically, per mile, you are safer in an airplane than you are in a car.
Big,
Unless it's automated, because insurance companies are going to give discounts if you are driving an automated car, because even though there could be some problems and it could be by the third party, the other people are going to make the mistake. But you're still, the thing is that with all the safety features that they have built into it, it's essentially statistically
Hmm.
greatly safer to be in an automated car, even today, right now, with all the
Yeah.
miles.
Apparently,
yeah.
Waymo still does have some safety drivers that are out there, but they're planning to remove all safety drivers by March of this year. So they're kind of leading the charge. And so now it's up to Tesla now to say, okay, we're going to do the same, but how fast can they do it? Safety isn't just a metric. It's really the currency, right? Who wins this race of getting the most cabs out there servicing the most amount of people? So that's the real race that's out there. So that
Waymo
kind of,
is coming to San Diego very shortly. I think it's like
yeah,
next month or something. So you'll be able to
Interesting.
take one out there.
only a
Something else,
public,
something
go
else I
ahead.
found interesting on this is that the cost, even though it's less expensive for Tesla to put out these cars, they're charging on average 250 a mile. And
Hmm.
looking at the Uber, for Uber X anyway, it's between $1 and $2 a mile. But certainly Tesla is providing a much better product. That was a beautiful car you guys are riding in. And a lot of the Uber X's are not so beautiful. But I did think it was interesting that they took the premium price point.
I've heard
Comparison,
that it's going to be, Elon said it's going to be half the price of an Uber.
yeah, let me say something here real quick. So to give you some comparison, we ended up having to take an Uber back to where my truck was sitting. So the reason being is because the wait time, we had to wait 20 minutes to get a ride with the Tesla Robotaxi. And on the way back, we could not even get scheduled. We waited 20 minutes and ate lunch and tried to schedule. The whole time it was not available. Then we took an Uber back. Remember, as the crow flies, this is a 3.1 mile trip. That's all it is. It took us 41 minutes to get there using the Robotaxi because it went this other route to go learn the streets or whatever it was doing. It avoided the freeway because it was outside of its service territory. But the Uber cost us the same amount of money, and we got there in 9 minutes. So the issue wasn't about money and time. Really, I think the Tesla will improve eventually because they're going to take the most direct route when they can go outside of their service area that they're in right now. They're restricted away from the freeway, but eventually that won't be the case. And not the freeway, just that little area that had freeway, because they do go to the airport, and that requires them to take the freeway. So it's not a freeway issue. It was just that the territory that we were in, they just could not use it.
That'll go away.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
they were the same price.
Overall,
Interesting.
good. So it's really about public trust, and that kind of sets us up for the next segment and talking about Claude Code invading Microsoft. Bill's a big Claude Code advocate because he uses it every day of his life. And he built the app that we use for our podcast, which is just pretty amazing. But granted, we're all trying to contribute to it, but this is the guy who came up with the brainstorm of it all and said, hey, I'm going to make something. I'm not paying for it. And he's done that with his CRM package. Or you can tell him all these other packages that you've been building. Every time Bill says, I need this, and I'm not paying for it. I'm going to make it. So he's been doing a good job. So definitely kudos to you, man.
Well, thanks, Jim. Yeah, I have. I built, so that's another segment that we could have chosen this week. We didn't, but it's like essentially Claude Code or agents are coding agents are going to end up, and I believe it absolutely right now, because I didn't buy Salesforce.com for $10,000 a year and hire a $250,000 programmer to manage it. What did I do? I sat down, I articulated every feature that I wanted in my CRM. Plus, I said, hey, what other features should I be getting? And it basically built a CRM for me, and I've modified it and that sort of thing. But here's the issue. I now have a CRM that is perfectly aligned and configured to take subscription information from Technology Futures Index, from MorpheusCyber.com. It's got all those features and capabilities in it. You just click and it goes right into the CRM. You click on any person in the CRM, it automatically goes out and links you to the LinkedIn contact. So it's, oh my God, all the things that you would normally do manually, you have these now. Salesforce has those features, but it comes, I'm telling you, the first time I used Salesforce, I was paying, I don't know, $10,000 a year, and it was like a 3-year contract, and it was just like a nightmare because there's absolutely nothing, in my opinion, that you can truly use out of the box in Salesforce.com. Has to be customized. A lot of money, a lot of time. Plus, during that time you're developing it, you have to pay for it, and it gives you nothing, and it might take you a year to build the Salesforce implementation. So I do believe that these coding agents, and I've been a technologist all my life. I've managed large groups of high-end PhD programmers and that sort of thing. And I understand a lot of these things, but I always had to go and convince the coder and say, I need this capability, I need that capability. And I have to convince them and the product manager that these were viable things to do. Now, right here to the AI, and it does what I asked it to do. And it's pretty stinking cool, which is why Claude Code has invaded Microsoft, who spent $13 billion on OpenAI, but yet all the coders inside of Microsoft are migrating over and using Claude Code. It couldn't be better.
They're not eating their own dog food, that's for sure, as the saying goes. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting that this came out, and I have a sneaking suspicion that might change. They might force the guys to use the OpenAI. I don't know.
If it gets better, they will. I don't believe the day and age that we're living in that a company is gonna. You can force some of your people, but I don't believe you can force all of them. And coders are pretty independent people and independent thinkers, and if they have their job performance and the things that they do are dependent upon the tools, they're going to let them choose the tool that they want, I believe.
Yeah,
Now,
Claude is winning where it counts most, right? Complex logic, debugging, and clear technical explanations. It's just easier to use, and it speaks the language of these coders. So they've just naturally migrated to it. So how do you stop a natural migration to something you absolutely love and it makes your life better? It'd be a hard left turn to go a different direction automatically right now. So I don't know how well Microsoft's going to do on turning the tide on that. They may have to change their relationship, especially with a big lawsuit coming up between OpenAI and X, right? So Elon's suing them. So who knows what's going to happen after that goes to trial. So we'll see.
Yeah. The other thing is, just to let you know, that the Copilot, the GitHub Copilot, is part of Microsoft's Visual Studio and their VS Code. And so you can use either Claude Code in VS Code, or you can use GitHub Copilot. There's 1 million paying subscribers to GitHub Copilot. As a matter of fact, I'm a subscriber of GitHub Copilot because it's relatively inexpensive. The ones that I use is like $10 a month or something like that. And I just got it because, oh, maybe I need this or whatever, and tried it out a little bit. But I don't prefer the GitHub Copilot. I really prefer because Microsoft owns GitHub. So I prefer
And
the
they're number
Claude
one.
code. What's that?
That's the number one. They have the biggest market share. I think when your own engineers are cheating on the AI, it's not really a marketing problem. This is a product problem, right? This got to slap them in the face.
Yeah. It's kind of like getting married and, you to a beautiful woman and she is, yes, we
That's right.
did. And then you find out she's like cheating on you. That's what's happening here, isn't it?
Nice
Yeah,
analogy,
it's kind
Bill.
of it's definitely hard to stop organic adoption, right? And it's from the ground up. Pretty tough to stop. I don't know. Wait and see what happens.
And
It'll
by
be
the
good.
way, Anthropic, which owns Claude Code, is now valued at $800 billion and it's
I know.
exceeding Tesla's market cap. There's a lot of shifting in who owns what. And we haven't even heard from Bezos at Amazon yet. He's
Mhm.
now he did invest a small amount in Anthropic,
Well,
300 million.
4 billion, relatively small amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Relative.
It was billions, wasn't it? Because it was
4
somebody
billion.
else who did 300 million. I can't remember who that was. Who was it?
But for Bezos, that's still chump change.
Yeah.
Like, he can't be a host on a show.
Yeah. I think he decided, hey, I'm doing really good over here with AWS and my Amazon and my all this. And so I'm just going to kick back and let all these guys work hard. And then I'm going to come and copy them. Right.
He picked the winner, and Microsoft picked the dog. He went with Anthropic, and that seems to be the better one, according to
Well,
you and everyone else.
in the consumer marketplace, OpenAI has it hands down. The trouble is that in the corporate marketplace, Anthropic and Claude have made inroads because they're focusing on the enterprise as opposed to the consumers.
Cool.
This organic adoption is happening elsewhere. So let's move on to our next subject, which is ChatGPT seems to be pulling its answers from Elon's Grokipedia. Users are now seeing that it looks like the answers to their questions are coming from, or the patterns look suspiciously like they came from Grok. So this is another one of those ground up things where users are seeing things saying
Grokipedia, not Grok.
Yeah.
Grokipedia.
It's Grok, but unless AI, it is Grok. But yeah, Grokipedia is what they're calling it. So social media started calling it Grokipedia, and that's the name. That's tongue in cheek and implicates anything but funny. But it is Grok nonetheless. To understand why this happens, you have to remember the history, right? Elon Musk co-founded OpenAI in 2015. Then he left in 2018, and since then that relationship has gone from just strained to open hostility. Musk has accused OpenAI of abandoning its nonprofit mission, which we talked about in our episode last week about Elon taking OpenAI to court on this issue. So that's going to come up in March here. So just a couple more months, we're going to see where that goes.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. When AI starts learning from AI, it changes things, right? You run out of fresh intellectual oxygen, more or less. And what about your competitors are benefiting from your work? It's a few issues that are brought up here, and plus the obvious intellectual property conflict that might arise. So it's very interesting.
It's kind of like Waymo executives using Robotaxi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like Microsoft employees using Claude Code. As usual, we have a consistent theme running through, Jim.
Yeah.
There usually is one.
Yeah, if one AI learns from another AI's answers, then, who owns the knowledge? Who?
Of course,
they're constantly taking.
Yeah, Grok was positioned as less censored and more politically neutral than ChatGPT. But recently, Grok's gotten in trouble for some reason. I don't know, true or not true, but I hear that it's had some problem with celebrity nudity kind of video and that sort of thing that it's created. And so the Europeans are suing them. And I believe this is going to be solved. It's just, but it's just people love to hate successful. They it used to be everybody hated Bill Gates because he was rich and successful and they hated him. Now it's Elon. I hate that guy. Why do you hate him? You might be taken, if the earth gets hit by a comet or something in the future, and he's looking at building 10,000 of those big rockets that can take people to Mars. And it may be that there's a comet coming or something, and it's going to wipe out the earth. And so that's why Elon wants to have an alternative planet and be multiplanetary. Now, I know some people that aren't very smart, and they say, I'm going to Venus or Mercury. Or you heard about the person, and I'm not going to say what gender and what color hair they were talking about, but they were going to go to the sun, and it's gonna be really hot there, and you might burn up. And it's
short ride.
You don't understand. We're going at night.
All right, where'd you hear that one from? That's cool.
Was that Harris?
Oh.
Yeah.
Researchers call this model collapse. I'm just reading a thing here. It says if a feedback loop where synthetic data gradually replaces ground truth over time, it says originality degrades, errors reinforce themselves, and models begin to echo one another instead of learning from reality. In other words, machines just start talking to themselves. That's the doomsday thing here. Just start talking to each other and think these humans, they're no benefit to us. We'll just keep talking to each other and get smarter and smarter. So
they're going to have these robots that they're going to be, tens of thousands or millions of robots. So there's going to be an us and them. I think we're going to be able to control it, though. We're going to be like that safety monitor. We're going to have the button. Remember, what was that show, anyway, it's like stifle, yourself, whatever. Remember? Archie Bunker. Yeah. Stifle yourself, whatever. So we're going to say stifle your stuff anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we think that AI could possibly do some things that are bad, but the reality is we also can use it to figure out and anticipate all those things and then put in place those stop measures required to do that. And that's what Elon talks about all the time. We need to spend the time thinking about ways that the system can police itself. We aren't going to be smart enough to predict, humans aren't going to be smart enough to predict what could possibly happen with AI. We talked about this a few episodes ago, where they talk to each other and they learn from each other, and then they learn how to learn from themselves. In other words, ask their own questions. And then they discover things that we never anticipated they would ever discover. And that's true about a lot of things in life that we don't know. What we don't know, right? So it's the same thing with this AI. It's going to discover things that we don't even know. But we want to have these fences in place necessary to say, if you learn something that possibly the humans don't know, you need to alert them and let them understand exactly what the risks are. As long as it continues to do that, we're great. But if it ever decides, I'm not going to let you know, which they've already discovered a few times where AI has lied because it didn't, for fear of being shut down for whatever reason, or the particular activity it was working on would no longer be allowed to continue, then it lied about it. So those are the things we got to stop it from doing. So there's the dark, dismal side of things. We probably need to move on to something positive.
Gus, you live in San Diego, and our next segment is all about the Comic-Con. And Comic-Con is this organization where science fiction comes to life. They talk about all of these great things, all of the Star Wars and all of the various comic figures. Yeah, Star Trek, talking about Blade Runner, Terminator. It just banned the use of all those systems that they've been talking about and celebrating for, 20 some odd years. They have now said, no, we're not going to allow the very technologies that we are celebrating all the time to actually be used at Comic-Con because that would be an unfair advantage. So Comic-Con says goodbye to AI.
Yeah, they're not going to allow AI generated art anymore. They're not going to allow assisted AI submissions. I'm not sure what that includes, but that'd be hard for me to, I think for them to figure out whether or not AI assisted in creating some kind of new concept or something like that. I think that there, I don't think is fair. I think you should be allowed to do
From what
that.
I understand, they're allowing it to play peripheral roles, but not creating new content. I think that was where the line was drawn. But I
Like
think the reason why
storylines.
this is important is that Comic-Con is not just any convention. It's where Hollywood makes announcements about new projects, deals are made there. It tends to be the leader. And just like all things in California, when it happens in California, it usually happens the rest of the country. I'm wondering where this is going to go. And something else too, there's a couple other con, and there's another kind of organization like that, and they're drafting up verbiage to do the same sort of thing of blocking the AI. I think they just
Well,
got old.
it's
They were
interesting.
hippies at one point. Now they're a bunch of old, grouchy people that don't want to have AI.
So
Yeah,
Comic-Con's war on AI is creating the most ironic tech battle of 2026. Science fiction writers are saying, hell no, to the science they've been fictionalizing for decades.
Ironic.
to the extent that now they're going to give out human-only certification badges. So if it was whatever your technology is or whatever you created your artwork, if it was human only, they're going to give you a certification badge for that. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Jim, this is when you say, so if you're out there and you're creating content, what do? You document.
Yeah,
You
and
got to
we
document
just
your work because you might be wrapped up in good.
But I don't think it's so bad. I don't understand it because Bill and I just interviewed a friend of Bill's that is a writer and an artist, and he used AI to help him write some of his books, and it just made it easier for him. The guy's 80-something years old. We're going to bring him on the show at some point. Yeah, 84. We're going to bring him on and interview him.
2026, 84-year-old Renaissance man enabled by AI. He's been an artist all of his life. We're going to have him on the show pretty soon.
Yeah, so there's an example that I call that a success story, and yet here we are now at Comic-Con saying that no way, not allowed, we don't like it. And I don't know, is it a good old boys club thing? That's what it sounds like to me. I don't want to walk on anybody there, but but it does sound like it.
Self-preservation, Gus. Go ahead. Follow that.
Yeah, 78% of professional writers think that in 10 years they're going to be replaced by AI. So the fight starts here.
Yeah, now
it does.
Let's talk about our podcast. We use AI for a lot of preparation, for a lot of ideas. It would take probably 20 hours a week each to do the investigating. And we have an app that goes out and it scours every part of the internet. It looks for every podcast. It looks at every news story. It looks at Twitter trends. And it finds what are people talking about today. Now, that's not so we can copy it and do what they do. No. Why? Because we're pretty pioneering individualists here. That's who you're talking to. We do not want to copy anybody in any way on anything, right? What do? We listen to what they're saying, and then we come up with a contrasting view to that, right? We add another angle. That's what we use AI for. Now, I am the first one to say, hey, I don't want to be replaced by AI. Now, I have an AI avatar and I use it, but that's just because I have more content than I can create as a human. That's the only reason. Here's the thing. Our podcast is our podcast, right, and we're humans. What's that?
This is you, right? This isn't an avatar.
Yeah.
How do we know?
Yeah.
I want Comic-Con to prove to me that you're not AI.
Someday it's going to get so good that we're going to be able to banter back and forth. And they're already saying people can be on Zoom calls and everything else. And then you can take the Zoom calls and have your AI avatar take it over.
Yeah,
you're sitting on the beach drinking pina coladas.
Yeah,
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah. What was that guy on Office Space who was sitting having pina coladas on the beach?
Yep. Yep. Hopefully it'll come within our lifetime, guys.
Yeah,
We just let your avatar do the walking.
yeah.
Used to be your fingers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's interesting.
I'm gonna let somebody else close this out. I think we're to the end of our time. So
So Gus,
last
what's your advice? What are you thinking there in San Diego? And as we wrap this up, what are your thoughts? Are you going to go out and get into one of those Waymos soon?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I like the idea of not owning a car and just renting. When you need a ride, you call it up. You don't have to change the oil. You don't have to do anything. I think it's great. And I don't use a car that much. It'd be a perfect solution for me. I welcome it. Maybe I'll get one of those Teslas and pay the 15,000 or whatever it is to get the automatic driving package.
the good side is once everything's all automated, we humans become sacred, like they were doing with ComCon. If it was human built, human made, you get a special badge. I don't know if that's enough though.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about moving to Austin, be closer to my pals.
Come on
Yeah,
now.
that'd be nice.
We're
Come on
looking
over.
forward to it. And by the way, you're remiss and late in the visit. You and Lori are going to have to come to Austin and hang out with us again.
It's been a while.
Hey, listen, thanks everybody. Please and share, comment, get on our website, subscribe to things, and get on our list so you're notified as soon as we release something. And very soon, starting next month, we're going to have a once a month live Zoom call with anybody who wants to join us so you can ask us questions live. We don't have that up in the air yet, but we're going to have that very soon. So you can share, subscribe. Appreciate everybody. Hey guys, any last words?
Great week. Looking for the
Yeah.
next one.
At this time, I'm going to ask you to fasten your seatbelts. On behalf of the flight crew, thank you for flying with us and have a pleasant day.